It is Bitcoin Wednesday.
Bitcoin Wednesday, the digital currency revolution in the Netherlands. Register using the link on bitcoinwednesday.com.
Hello, I'm Jona Derks. I'm responsible for communications at Folding Coin. It's a bit awkward, but I have to open Skype now and also call the founder. He's in the US, so it was tough to be here. So we decided to go for kind of a duo presentation, so I'll also be here afterwards to talk about the coin. And I will first give an introduction and he will then take it further. Let's see. I think it might be nice if I adjust the screen a bit, so you can also see you guys.
Hello?
Hey Robert.
Hey, what's going on?
I'm fine. Can you turn your camera on?
Let's see, turn the camera on?
Yeah.
Let's see. It's saying that it won't start the camera.
Okay.
I can try to call you back solo. Is that okay?
Do a solo call.
Yeah, solo call.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Hey. Well, this was kind of bound to happen. That it's
Right.
going wrong in the beginning. So, well, this is the picture of Robert, which is nice. He might be here soon. As I said, I'm the head of communication, which does not mean a lot because I'm basically the guy that does communications. There's Robert. So, Robert.
Hi, Robert. Welcome. Can you turn some bright lights on your face so that we can actually see you?
Sure.
That would be great.
Yeah, I got a lot of windows in here, which is why. Tell me if it's too bright.
No, I think it's.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Is that okay,
Is that
Carl?
good?
Carl, can you see him?
It's okay.
All right, excellent. Thanks. Full
Sorry
screen.
about the glare.
But I also need the presentation. So, okay, this works pretty well. So put Robert here. That's nice. And well, because Robert is in the USA, we also need somebody to do this stuff. So that's what I'm here for as well. To give you a bit of a backstory of Folding Coin. As you might know, well, Bitcoin is a pretty awesome thing. You basically have a lot of people putting a lot of power into this network. And only because of the idea they believe in, of this decentralized currency, and also, because of the reward that they can get this Bitcoin. So about 9 months ago, Robert, who is an old Bitcoin miner, he had a lot of old Bitcoin mining rigs in his room, and he has a lot of them. And they were basically all useless because Bitcoin is evolving. We got ASICs. So you have these old machines that were very energy intensive, and these ASICs were way more efficient. So suddenly other people compete with you, have much higher speeds, and have a lower electricity bill. So basically the old machines are worthless. So that's a waste, but okay, you have these new machines, Bitcoin is fine, and innovation is good, better computers. But Robert was thinking, what can I do with these machines? So what he started doing is pointing his machines towards other projects. And that's the main project we are using this coin for. We reward people who send mining power to Folding at Home, which is an initiative of Stanford. And what they do is they use your computing power to simulate the folding of proteins. And this is necessary to find cures for diseases like, Robert, basically. But I'll get it here. For Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, Huntington's, cancer. This is already a really big network. It's one of the largest grid computing networks in the world, and up until this moment, people are just putting computing power in it, because of the good it does. They don't earn anything with it, but they do get points. So sort of good for your ego boost. That it's an altruistic thing. What Robert did, and there were already some coins that tried to stimulate people to do this. But they still had their own blockchain. What Robert did is he decided to create a coin that is that does not need a blockchain, that uses the Bitcoin blockchain by using the counterparty protocol, which is a Bitcoin 2 layer on top of the Bitcoin network that uses the same transactions, and you can create assets on this chain. So Robert created this new coin and started handing these out to people. This has grown pretty rapidly, this incentive to get people to put power in this network, and also our team grew pretty rapidly. So Robert started with technical guy James, and then some other people joined, and we're with 6 people now, and our main goal is to also improve the coin, improve the services to make the coin more valuable, and also make it more rewarding to put power towards medical research and still get a reward to pay your electricity bill. Well, with most coins, the acceptance was really low in the beginning, but the potential is really big because the Bitcoin network before the ASICs, so all these machines that basically are redundant in basements now, is still 100 times as large as the current folding at home network. I think I'm correct on that. Might be a bit different, so the potential is here. We've been working on this for 10 months now, and we had a major breakthrough when we reached over 10% of the entire network of this, one of the largest grid computing networks in the world. So that's a major contribution to research, and we basically enable a large group of people to really contribute to medical research. Well, the more technical side and also how it works, that's what Robert's for. So I will go to the next slide, Robert.
Okay, and just to confirm, are you on slide 5?
I'm on the folding coin distribution. Yeah, that's 5.
Okay, cool. All right, Jona, you want me to take it from here then?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Jona, great introduction. He got all the main points right on. So basically how this works is, if any of you aren't familiar with Counterparty, I'll give you the brief description of Counterparty. It's similar to Ethereum or NXT, to where you can build assets and smart contracts. The only difference is instead of having their own blockchain, it's built right inside of the Bitcoin blockchain. So it offers the same thing, the same kind of services as Next or Ethereum. And so when we developed this, when me and James developed this, we were thinking like, well, we want all of the resources to go towards folding at home. So putting the asset on Counterparty allows us to not actually have any miners partake in securing our blockchain. Rather, the Bitcoin miners, they're the ones who are securing the blockchain for us. And the other cool thing about Counterparty is all Bitcoin wallets are compatible with Counterparty wallets. So we already have paper wallets that are ready for our coin. We already have online wallets that are ready. And Counterparty is being developed more for more wallets to be more Counterparty friendly. Because not every wallet you can send in, not every wallet can you send assets from, but every Bitcoin wallet you can receive assets from. And so basically, James wrote a PHP script to give the brief description on this, to where FAH, when they started back in 2000, the best system that they can come up with to incentivize, computer nerds like myself or medical researchers to partake in this program was to give a point system. So like a leaderboard, just like Xbox Live or your favorite gaming site with a high score or whatnot. And so what we do is we basically take those points that they allocate, which are FAH credits, and everybody who's part of the folding coin team, they put their Bitcoin address inside their username, so that way we can verify it as that user. And so we parse through all the text files that Stanford makes available, because they're 100% available to the public, and we pay them in portion of how many people are partaking. So to keep numbers simple, let's say 5 people are partaking and each of them are 20% of the network. Then each of them are going to get 20% of our daily distribution, which at the current rate is 500,000 folding coins per day. Consistently, we pay out about 250 people per day and about 500 independent wallets per month. So we currently have 500 active users. The only reason why some of them don't get paid every day is because some people who have slower computers, it might take them 3 days to complete a fold, and they don't get paid until they complete a fold. As for some of our top miners, well, they're folders now, some of our top folders, they get paid every day. So it's a consistent 250 each day. And so if you look at the next slide, slide 6, the really cool thing about this is, oh, you're already on it.
Yeah.
The really cool thing about this is it's super, super user friendly. You know, I'm sure some of you in the room are miners. You know, you have to get the Qt wallet, you got to get CG miner, you know, whatever you're using. You have to get all of these really intimidating things that a general person who's not very computer savvy wouldn't like. Folding at home is download and go. You download the program right from their website, they send you through the prompts. The only thing you need to do is you need to set your username. So you can actually see from the example, my username I use online is poop2, and we have an underscore, and then the asset symbol, and then the underscore, then the Bitcoin address. Now I'll get to that, what that asset symbol is in the middle. I'll get to that in the next slides. But you can see the points earned, and you know, this isn't as intimidating for a new user. So it's really super easy, and it just works inside of, you can just access it from inside your Google Chrome wallet. They actually also have just a Chrome wallet folder as well if you don't want to install the whole client. But you can see on the task menu in the lower right-hand corner, that little red, yellow, and blue bubble-looking thing, that's the actual program running. So if we go to the next slide, what we did in January is James discovered a way in which, you know, why not have a system to where other coins can also distribute on our platform? Because since it's all built inside a counterparty, the cool thing about counterparty is every counterparty token features are basically compatible with all other tokens because it's all on the same platform. So what that middle symbol is we didn't used to have that. What that middle symbol is you basically have 3 different settings. You can set it to FLDC if you want, and you'll only receive folding coin. You can receive it to a specific coin, like Scott coin or BitCrystals is on our platform, and you will receive folding coin in addition to your selected token. Or the most popular method is the all method. If you put all in the middle of your username, then you will receive every token on our platform. This is really great for other projects to be able to do either continuous distributions to promote their project or just a limited time distribution. For example, Spells of Genesis is a really exciting project on Counterparty that's coming out, and they're an in-game card game currency. So basically, in a nutshell, BitCrystals, which is their token, you can burn to receive packs of cards, just like Magic the Gathering or Pokemon cards. But except for it being actual physical cards, they come up as counterparty assets in your wallet. And so before they release, they're doing a 3-month promotional giveaway on our platform to kind of promote their project. And since then, a lot of people have learned about Spells of Genesis. Scott Coin, they're trying to be the currency of Scotland. They're doing a promotional giveaway on our platform so more people are aware. It's a great way to get more tokens involved and incentivize people to fold more, because you're not just receiving one token. You can receive a whole list of tokens as we expand it. And so if we go to the next slide, slide number 8, the big values that we see is the mining powers for medical research. Now, the reason why we chose Counterparty in the beginning is because we love the Bitcoin mining network, and the SHA-256 miners, all the ASICs, those are great for the Bitcoin network. However, since there are a lot of people that invested in graphics cards and CPUs that did Bitcoin, they switched over to altcoin mining, and and this is just a personal opinion. I personally don't think any of the altcoins, even the bigger ones like Litecoin or Dogecoin, that those will overtake Bitcoin because they don't have significant features that improve upon Bitcoin. So virtually all of that mining power is just being wasted on a blockchain that may ultimately not be the universal currency like Bitcoin is trying to be. We're not trying to compete with Bitcoin, we're trying to, because we're built inside of Bitcoin. So therefore, if Bitcoin fails, we fail. And so that power could be used for so much better research. Just to give the quick stats, when you incentivize and bring profit motive into something, it becomes, commerce happens and venture capitalists want to make money. For example, with Bitcoin, before the ASICs came out, in 3 short years that Bitcoin was running, before the ASICs and before the FPGAs, the Bitcoin network achieved 330 petaflops of floppy power. Now, let's put that in comparison to the FAH network, which has been running for 15 years at the time, and they had only achieved 36 petaflops at the time. And the world's largest supercomputer at the time was only 33 petaflops. So Bitcoin mining back then was 10 times more powerful than the FAH network was, because FAH was nonprofit and donational, and Bitcoin was something that you could churn a profit with. And so if you look at the ASIC mining now, there's not a direct comparison between a flop and a hash, but the Bitcoin network is about 5 million flops, and petaflops, and that's crazy, because the world's biggest supercomputer is only 33 petaflops, just to kind of show the comparison. So if we can make folding coin popular enough to where people want to use this coin, which we have features in place to where it will give folding coin a use, so that way it's not just a coin that you earn for no reason. But if we can make that and drive popularity enough, venture capitalists could seize an opportunity to create an ASIC for molecular protein simulation, just like they had for SHA-256, which wasn't needed before Bitcoin. We offer our expertise as startup tokens. We love helping other cryptocurrencies in the space that are building on top of Counterparty, because we're very familiar with Counterparty. We work with it all the time. We're constantly, I actually just got elected to be a community director for the Counterparty board, so we're very involved in that world. So we're very open to talk to anybody, so anybody wants to start a token, we help them with that. We trying to improve cryptocurrency services. So one big project that we're working on, which we're actually now starting to talk about publicly because it's very close to beta, is Counterparty. The big thing about the assets is a lot of them you can't really do anything with at this moment, because either it's in development or there isn't a use case. Like, if anybody's familiar with storage, they're going to be the decentralized Dropbox. They're built on Counterparty, but their product isn't released yet. So everybody has these tokens that don't have anything to do with them. So we've been building an eBay-style marketplace in which you can buy and sell goods with any Counterparty token or Bitcoin. So you don't even have to use a Counterparty token. You can just buy and sell with Bitcoin. And the way we can drive adoption for folding coin is we only take transaction fees in folding coin. So, if you're selling a computer, you don't have to sell it for folding coin. If you only like Bitcoin, you can sell it for Bitcoin. But when you pay us our small fee, we haven't discussed the pricing on that, but it'd be very small. It won't be 10% like eBay. It will be much smaller than that. But we only exclusively take that transaction in folding coin. And I think that pretty much gets the overhead view of it all. Did I miss anything?
No, I think you did it very well. We can move it full screen now. Maybe some people have questions.
No?
Somebody's coming.
Oh, okay. I'm known as one of the happiest guys in crypto. Just if you look at all my forums, there's a smiley face at the end of every single one of them.
All right. Well, a quick question. I used to do a little mining myself. I'm wondering, what's the process like for actually appointing a miner to do medical research? Can you go into that a little bit?
Yes, I can. So basically, Stanford has made it extremely simple. Unlike when you were doing Bitcoin mining where you had to configure everything yourself, Stanford has a partially open source program called the FAH client. Why it's partially open source is because they want to continue to have control of it, and they don't want copycat ones being out there that won't do real research. But it is open source to a certain extent, so you can look in there. And basically, you just go to Stanford's website, it's stanford.folding.edu, and you download their folding client. And it runs, it's just an exe. With Linux, it's a little bit harder. You can go on our YouTube channel, and I have a step-by-step guide on how to do it on Linux. With Windows, it's very easy. It's an exe. You install it, goes through the prompts like every regular program, and then you begin. Now, the only thing you yourself have to configure as a folder is you need to go into the user settings, and you need to adjust your username to have a username, so whatever you want, so like mine is poop2, underscore, and then your token symbol, which I recommend using all, so that's capital ALL, then underscore, and then your Bitcoin address. And by Bitcoin address, I mean counterparty address, because it will work on any Bitcoin address, but you want it to be a counterparty address so that way you can use the token. And on our website, we have the first two steps right on the front page on the hot links. It takes about 2 minutes to set up. And as a miner, I'm sure you're like me and you were used to having to overclock and underclock different CPUs and GPUs. All of that is built right in the FAH client. There is nothing you have to do outside of that. So they have a toggle for like running full, and if you have a good computer, you can run it full and still work on it. And then they have a medium, which the medium will run your GPUs at half speed, and it'll only use half of your CPU cores. And then you can run it on low speed, and low will only use one core of your CPU. So if you have a 4-core CPU, it'll only use one core. Now, there is another great setting that a lot of people use, which is the idle setting. And the idle setting means if your computer isn't asleep, it's not folding. The moment your computer goes to sleep and you get a black screen, it begins folding right away. So it's incredibly easy to set up in comparison to Bitcoin mining.
So this is only for CPU and GPU. What about like any
Yes.
older generation ASICs, for example? Those aren't compatible.
So no. Now, this is a great question, and I'm not just saying that because I get this all the time. The reason why the ASICs won't work is because remember, ASICs are application specific. So the ASICs as we know it for Bitcoin and for script mining, they're specific to SHA or they're specific to script. What folding at home does is something called molecular protein simulation, and that's a different process altogether. It's not a big long math algorithm problem like Bitcoin is. It's literally your computer is simulating the exact way a DNA strand or a protein strand folds in the human body. And basically after it finished one of these tests, it gets another one and it refolds it a different way. And it just does it as many times as you upload the work unit. And so there is actually an ASIC out there for molecular protein simulation. It's called an Anton supercomputer, but it's like a multi-million-dollar computer and you wouldn't be able to purchase one. It's not readily available to the public. But that's what our hopes is. It's kind of like, SHA-256 before Bitcoin, nobody would need an ASIC that did SHA at that ridiculous amount of speed. But since Bitcoin made it available to where people would purchase that, that's what we want to do for molecular protein simulation. So sadly, no ASICs or FPGAs could be used on this. It's strictly GPUs and CPUs.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And also as another note for miners, if you are looking to get into this, unlike Bitcoin and script mining, AMD is not the better solution. AMDs are still good for folding at home, but NVIDIA is actually the better process to use for this due to the thread counts and the actual GPUs. So keep that in mind if anybody's out there.
So, hi, Robert.
Hi.
Very interesting presentation. You said sadly that ASICs and FPGAs are not useful at this moment. I'm interested to hear what is your vision about, say, the future of the cryptocurrency sector in terms of very specialized chips and cards that we have now for Bitcoin for the ASICs, as opposed to some other systems in which more generalized CPUs will be used. In one case, we're kind of optimizing for these for use of energy and so on, and in the other case, perhaps these chips will be repurposed to more general uses. So I'm wondering, do you understand the question?
I do. Let me rephrase it to make sure I understand. So you're saying, how do I envision the ASICs playing out for folding at home, and how do I envision the ASICs playing out for the Bitcoin network, and how the two will work together? Is that basically correct?
Yeah, that's part of it. And in general, the use of different types of hardware for the type of solution that you're working on.
Okay, so I'll start with the Bitcoin one, and this one will, there's varying opinions on this in the space. I really like the idea, and a lot of people disagree with this, I really like the idea of putting smaller ASIC chips inside of everyday devices, because you save the cost. The most cost of Bitcoin mining tends to be cooling. When I was running my operation, it was literally half of my cost was cooling and half of it was actual production. And so if you have smaller ASICs that are in everyday devices like TVs or phones all working together, there's a couple benefits to that. First off, the energy is not really being that wasted because we're using our phones anyway, and they're getting more energy efficient. I just saw a release of a new company that just came out that has even more energy efficient ASICs now. And another benefit is a lot of benefit people don't think of, is let's say we have 100 million phones that all have a tiny ASIC chip in them. Well, collectively, that may be, let's say, about 30% of the Bitcoin network. They can all join a decentralized mining pool in which they're not each paid like a Satoshi, because that's what it would be if 300 million people are in the same pool. But instead, it's kind of a lottery system to where somebody's just going to get that 25 Bitcoin block. So one phone randomly one day is just going to get 25 Bitcoins. And that's really cool because if you want to help and partake in the Bitcoin network, you just get a phone that has an ASIC chip in it, and you may get 25 Bitcoins one day, and you're helping to decentralize mining at the same time, which a lot of people think is a problem. Now, as for the ASICs for folding at home, centralization, and this is what does, I will be honest, this is what does turn some people off about what we do, because due to the nature of what we're doing, there is a centralization point to it. Folding coin is not a decentralized coin. We have control of the undistributed funds because the way Counterparty works is you create assets and then you hold them, and then you can do with them what you wish. And so we actually have to distribute them every day. And we have on our site the exact security measures that we take for this. We're also getting regulated with the IRS and getting our 501c3 to help build further trust in the community and give us some liability. Because we're a fully regulated crypto coin, which is almost unheard of. And the reason being is because we need to build that trust because we are centralized. Another reason for centralization is because we can't have everybody creating molecular protein simulations because not all of us are doctors and not all of us have PhDs to do that kind of research. And it's not like an algorithm where it can just go on forever. Once they run out, somebody needs to create more. And Stanford is that centralized service that creates these protein folds that we use. And you can go on their site to see, it basically is open source because they make all of the data available to any researcher. So if the cure for cancer, let's say, gets found with folding at home, it's not going to be like trademark or copyright by some big pharmaceutical company. It would be open to the public and any other researcher who wants to use it. And so centralizing ASICs for folding at home would actually be a good thing because it would increase the amount of research that's done at an astronomical rate. And I don't foresee, due to the nature of molecular protein versus an algorithm, I don't foresee those being in cell phones. I see that continue to be hardware devices that are in computers or as USB drives. But that's kind of the end vision here, is to get venture capitalists interested in creating this $100 ASIC for molecular protein simulation that people can buy as even just as a novelty, because if you're not, you might not gain profit off of it right away. If we do our job and we grow folding coin and we make it popular, eventually the value will follow. But even if it doesn't, people don't have a problem folding for us because it's not wasted. It's not like it's in a blockchain that might die in a year. It's actually been used for something productive. I think I answered the question. Did I miss?
I think that was pretty good.
Sounded good, Robert, thanks.
Okay, cool.
Any more questions? Okay, thanks.
Any concluding remarks, Jona?
Well, the interesting thing is that on the one hand, it's strange that we have this coin now that rewards you for doing something good. So there might be some ambiguity there. Can you be rewarded for doing something for science? But on the other hand, we also give people the possibility to buy this coin and actually support this mining. So there's a direct way. If you buy this coin and don't use it to buy something else, but just store it or keep it as a way to say like, okay, I supported, for example, one big mining rig for a week or something like that. You can also support this. So the more valuable this becomes, the more attractive it will become to support this network. So even when you're not a miner, you can contribute in that way. So we kind of also have this other mechanic going there. So that's also what I find very interesting.
Thanks, Alan.
Yeah, thank you.
Bitcoin Wednesday.